What's been on your mind lately?
Destiny 2. It's where my username comes from. It's probably my favorite game of all time. I've been playing it since almost launch.
The
From
people
Destiny
can't see
1.
your name. Your name's Exo Titan Male, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Uh,
Please continue. Sir.
and I've had some of the greatest moments and met some of the greatest people I've ever, have had the pleasure to meet online through this game. My clan, everyone in there is absolutely fantastic because we help each other out. We, we're good people to each other. My best friend, me and him love playing Destiny together. I've introduced people to Destiny, and we've had some of the greatest moments, especially during some of the last DLC, but it's to the point the game has kind of fallen off pretty terribly, and the decisions they're making have been absurd and atrocious, and it's getting to the point where I'm considering not even buying the next DLC and considering uninstalling the game because
Can you tell
so
me
unfun and
what's like a decision that's kind of like stood out that's really like almost put the nail in the coffin for you?
Bungie has continued to create this seasonal content, kind of like Fortnite and stuff. They release a battle pass every season with some seasonal content, and this has been going on for 3-4 years now, a very long time, and it's been the same exact way ever since. I actually took a break from the game about the 4th or 5th season in because of the reused content. It was just nothing but everything was reused, and it was disappointing to see my favorite game just rely on stuff they've already done and then expect me to pay for it. And that's exactly what had happened this last, 4 weeks ago, I would say, is when this last season came out, and everything. I mean, it's the same areas, the same, literally the same exact buildings on the same exact planets we've already explored and done stuff in, and we're just expected to do it again. The one thing I had hope for was the dungeon, which is a 3-man kind of raid-like activity, and they're always usually pretty great, and me and my friends always love going into them blind, trying to figure them out, and we get up to the very first boss of the dungeon, and it's a reused raid boss in the exact same position with the exact same animations, it down to the letter.
That's incredibly disappointing. Yeah. Jeez.
And it was, we pressed on, we did complete it, and the last boss of the dungeon wasn't any better. It was just a normal enemy called a wyvern that was scaled up to be twice as big, and the mechanic was cool, but the guns in the dungeon are reused. The armor's okay, but everything has been just recycled, and I'm tired of paying for the exact same content.
I was about to ask, the reuse stuff is unacceptable, especially for, correct me if I'm wrong, paid DLC, right? But,
Yes.
The rewards, I mean, are they at least worth it? I mean, I heard you say they reuse some guns.
To some extent, yes. I mean, they released a couple new exotics and some secret quests, and those have been great. They usually release an exotic in the battle pass as well that you can earn for free or you get immediately if you buy it. And those are cool. They're always interesting, at least. But none of the actual loot is something you'd want to go for besides the cosmetic aspect of it. And the fashion aspect of Destiny is important. I believe in that fully.
Absolutely.
But nothing is specific. Nothing. Sorry, not specific. Nothing is actually truly worth going out and getting now, which is my favorite part of Destiny. I love grinding for guns and trying to get that perfect 5 out of 5 god roll, so I could feel good. I'd have a slightly better gun than all of my friends, and I could brag about it. But that feeling has been lost. There's no prestige in going out and hard farming for a good gun anymore because they're so abundant. Nothing feels unique anymore. Nothing feels unique anymore.
So if you could talk to Bungie directly, what's something let's focus on one thing. Let's one major thing you would change. are asking to change, you know?
I'm not a game developer. I don't really know what would work in a game, especially one of Destiny 2's size and reputation. But personally, I'd strive to make more substantial content updates instead of the seasonal content. I feel like the seasonal content needs to be dropped and replaced with something else. Like I said, it's the same exact thing. It's whether if they're not using reuse content, they're reusing the same exact model. Like for the last 3 seasons, it's been go to place, shoot this thing, go to another place, shoot the same thing, and it's kind of just been that over and over again. There's no uniqueness to any of the missions, and I get why they don't do stuff like that and like the more seasonal content stuff, because to be honest with you, the random people in Destiny are kind of brain dead and can't figure out a whole lot of things. I used to be a weekly raider, so I love teaching people about all the cool mechanics. I know Bungie can do better with all of this content. It just feels like they're choosing to water down what their full potential.
And just because I don't like play Destiny, I follow it a little bit, but definitely not too much. There are multiple seasons in a raid, right? Or sorry, in a how do I put it? There are multiple seasons in like a expansion, I guess, right? Because like I thought like it was just like okay. How many would you say, like how many seasons are like in an expansion before the next one comes out?
3. They usually release 3 seasons. I could be mistaken. I haven't gotten on the game to check.
Yeah.
But last year in February we got the Witch Queen DLC, which was absolutely fantastic. And a season dropped with that. Then we got it's 4. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's definitely 4.
Do you think?
Sorry, my brain's all over the place.
No, it's perfectly fine. So you like the Witch Queen DLC or the expansion, and the next one is, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't follow it. It's the light one or whatever, right? It's
Lightfall, yes.
Lightfall, yeah. Do you feel like you said you were thinking about not getting it just because of this this like the way the game has been handled. But do you think if you got it, would it like kind of like rekindle like how you felt about Destiny? Do you think it would like fix any of these problems at all? Like at all?
Absolutely. In Lightfall they are striving to make the new player experience a lot better. And I know the way, especially with the same director that's working on the story for Witch Queen, working on the same story for Lightfall, it'd be fantastic. I have no doubts in my mind that Lightfall will be an absolute fantastic content update with DLC with a fantastic raid. It's definitely a big part of the Destiny story as well. But after that, it's back to the same stuff, back to the same seasonal content we've been doing for the last year. We'll get a new place to explore, a new subclass, which is always exciting, and tons of cool, fun content with a bunch of secrets, a raid. They probably won't release a dungeon, but we'll get all this cool stuff, a bunch of story that we've been building up to for a while. But it's like it's just it'll go back to being the exact same.
Right. So, yeah.
So
it sounds like you're definitely suffering from burnout. My suggestion is, because you've just played so much of the game, I'd say you like play it right as much as you can, but when you start feeling fatigued, you like hop on a different game. Like I get that the developers can like start putting out like more significant stuff, right? But I believe the why they don't put out such like significant stuff, right, is because I think they have multiple different teams. One, and I could be very wrong about this, but this is from like my game develop knowledge, because I'm kind of into that, is they have like a small team for like these like making sure people like you don't get bored, right? Which are they're kind of failing at. And that other team is like focusing on the next big expansion. but I think just from like the way the game is, because like how far apart are like the expansions? Would you say? Like, is it like every
They
4
release
months?
expansion every year.
Every year. Oh,
They release
okay. So you
every
have a whole
massive expansion
year
every
to
year.
like. Yeah, no, like
It's a whole year of the seasonal content, like I said, which is mostly just the same stuff. With
Right.
that one big, cherry pie that
Right.
usually comes in November, or not November, but February. Sorry.
Yeah, I just don't see like. Yeah, I really don't see how like developers are capable of like keeping someone like you, because you probably have like how many hours? Hundreds, 1,000 plus, something like that, right?
I have 1,125 hours on Destiny 1 and 1,759 hours on Destiny 2.
Yeah, like, because I'm trying to like be on your side for this, but like, because if you take like a new player's perspective, right, and they hopped into the game as it is, there's a good chance that they're not going to suffer like any kind of burnout whatsoever until like the next DLC, because they have like years of stuff to like of expansions to go through. But you've most likely done like everything that there is to do for the most part, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and like
I've.
so
Good.
what I think is like the burnout that you're suffering is, it's there because of just like how much of the game you play, which is great. But I don't think that the developers can focus on people like you, because compared to like the new players, like where the new players are and like the players kind of like in the middle of the game, I believe that there's more, and I could be wrong here, but I believe that there's more new players and people in the middle of the game than you being in like the ultra late game. To focus on like the ultra,
Absolutely.
yeah, to focus on like
Weekly raiders like myself is only about 5 to 6% of the population actually completes a raid.
yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, sorry, that's good. So I guess like the only thing that I can think about is these raids, right? I come from, I love the roguelike genre of video games, the live, die, repeat aspect of it. And like the thing about roguelikes is like whenever you restart a game, you keep your upgrades, right? Your upgrades persist, but the environment changes. It's procedurally generated. And I think perhaps maybe to keep you guys around, and I don't know if they already do this, but they could maybe do that with raids. So I don't know, would that sound like interesting? Like if you do these raids and like there's like a little bit that changes every time, but you like keep your guns and things like that. Would that sound interesting to you at all?
Well, how raids work in Destiny 2 is you're given an a raid encounter that's pretty simple is the first part of King's Fall, which is totems. You go into a room with 2 sides. Both sides you take damage and you won't be able to survive out there without an aura that also spawns on both sides. You'll need to take that aura and stand on these totems to prevent them from exploding and wiping the fire team. And you'll just kill stuff, and that'll give you a buff that you need to deposit on a plate in the center. And you just keep doing that. There's a little bit extra, but that's the main thing. I don't know if procedural generated stuff would work inside of Destiny because the raid mechanics are so hyper purpose built. They're made to be beaten a certain way, and any other way usually gets patched out because it's considered cheese. But I'm not really sure, like I said, how procedural generated would work because they're designed to be these impressive encounters with these impressive bosses. Oryx is a 100,000 foot tall monster of a boss who is terrifying, and he's made to be beaten in a certain way. I'm not sure if changing the way he was beaten every single time would refresh that, which also brings up another problem with the game. But the raids are fantastic. There's a few stinkers that no one likes playing, like Garden of Salvation, but the raids are not ever the problem with Destiny. Usually a Destiny DLC is defined by its raid. The raids are great. But and I know that I'm a small percentage of the player base of people who can play Destiny for hours upon hours on with no end in sight because they just like that stuff. But and I also realized that I shouldn't be expecting Bungie to cater to me when I am part of the minority of the Destiny player base. And I'm so off track. It's just disheartening to see a game I once loved because I could spend hours in it doing anything I wanted to, trying to get better guns, trying to get better armor, trying to get better, just better everything, better looking stuff, and all of that's been watered down to here's a season pass, here's a little bit of story with it, have at it. And
right. It's lost a bit of its like mysticism, right?
Its soul is how I would describe it.
Yeah. And I think that's just like, I do think a lot of that is just from, like, again, it would be nice for them to focus on the ultra late game people, a little bit more. Like, there's definitely something that can be done there, but I don't know, like, realistically speaking, right, from like a complete like business perspective, I don't want to be like terribly blunt, but like, why would they focus on that? Like, why would they put more effort into that than they need to, right? Because like, I'm pretty sure their main goal is to just get like more and more and more and more and more players, right? Because more players, more money, more people buying the battle pass. So I think it's just like, I don't know. I hate to say it, but I've like seen situations like this, and I think your like Destiny future is a bit grim, just because they're just gonna the content is gonna feel streamlined because you can't like really, you've experienced all that there is to, and your play sessions have been boiled down to get battle pass, do this thing, raid, whatever, yada yada. It's very streamlined, it's very robotic, and I think like the best thing that you can do in this kind of case is, when you're just not having fun, don't play it. Like, I hate to say it because it seems quite like kind of obvious, right? Or it seems kind of like a bit, grim, but it's just, I don't see from like a business perspective why they would focus on like the 0.5% of people. You know what I mean?
No, I absolutely agree with everything you said. There's no reason to focus on somebody like me. There's no reason to focus on the hardcore, well, the super hardcore players like myself. There's no, they've tried before and they lost a ton of money off of it.
Which sucks, because you're being it feels like you're being punished for playing the game too much, which is definitely a problem in game design, I feel like. Sorry, please continue.
No, it's hard to. I understand fully that Bungie needs money to keep making Destiny, and Destiny needs new players, which is why Lightfall is doing a big, huge new player revamp, which is great. And I agree. The same thing happened with COD. I used to be a hardcore COD fanboy, and the same thing happened with COD. Started catering to the casuals, and I stopped playing. I mean, I respect Bungie. I love them. They are my favorite developers of all time, and I have no ill will towards any of them or the developers. I love them to death, but I'm ready to walk away from the game, and it's hurting. It's genuinely making me sad because
I can hear it in your voice.
My Exo Titan male, I've had for I've had since my second playthrough of Destiny. I didn't even finish my first playthrough of Destiny 1 before me and my friends made these characters. I got to import him over from Destiny 1, and I have a genuine bond with him, and it hurts to think that I'd be leaving him behind, because I've been through so much. I've made friends. I've made memories I'll never forget with my best friend. I'll never forget both of us sitting taking pictures with each other, just out looking at the glorious views Bungie has always given us, and to think back that I won't do this, I won't be able to do this anymore because I can't have fun in Destiny anymore, breaks my heart. And it's just, I don't know. Like I said, I understand why they're taking the directions they do, why they do the stuff they do, but it doesn't hurt any less to see my favorite game become something that I don't want to play anymore.
Right. And the only thing that I can think about is, like, if it helps, you can definitely maybe not leave, like, think about it as in, like, leaving, but as just kind of letting your character rest for a little bit. And honestly, I would probably maybe come back maybe after 2 or 3 expansions or something like that, you know? Like, the next one that's coming out, like you said, maybe you should not buy it, but maybe not as like a protest of like you not having fun, but kind of you storing up the fun, because it just sounds like there's just not enough for you to do, and I think you need to just store it, you know, store up the fun. Please continue.
There definitely is that, but I also run the risk of falling behind on the raids, because raids are a lot harder to get groups for, a lot harder to do with friends, and a lot harder to get somebody to teach you how to do them, especially after 1 or 2 of them have already come out. And after a while, after a couple expansions, those previous raids won't even be worth playing because they won't drop high gear, making the already small players who actually do raids to go back to those raids. The only reason I did a few of them was because I was missing a couple guns out of them that I needed, and a friend, I was teaching a friend how to do them. I haven't been back in Vault of Glass, which is one of my favorite raids of all time, in almost 3 months.
Yeah,
but
I mean, you explaining that definitely is problematic. Like, when I'm hearing you talk, I'm definitely thinking about it from your perspective, right? I'm trying to think about it from all the perspectives, you know, the ultra late game, the new players, the fucking casual dads that come home from work and do their bounties or whatever you want to call them, and then just stop playing, and, you know, the business perspective of it. And the only thing that I can really, well, I guess the main thing that I can take away from this is that, like, ultra late game is, it's designed to, it's not designed well enough, right? Because if you're feeling that, then I'm guessing, you know, everyone in your position, you know, in the ultra late game is also feeling that, you know. That's what, thousands of players, tens of thousands of players that feel like that, and, you know, I don't think that's acceptable. So I'm definitely taking your stance on this, and, you know, saying, you know, Destiny needs to, I would say, fix their ultra late game. Not even like rework it, revamp it, or whatever. This is clearly a problem that needs to be fixed. Because, you know, when they have players out here, you know, being, you know, feeling the way that you do, being so attached to their characters, feeling that they need to step away from their characters because they're not having fun, I think that's definitely a bad thing. I don't know how they would fix it. You know, I always hate kind of doing this stuff where, like, you know, you just kind of like complain about a game, right? There's always people that kind of like complain about a game and then just kind of like don't give any like kind of constructive,
absolute worst ideas.
Yeah,
or none at all. Yeah,
exactly.
I can admit that I have zero idea what Destiny could do, because, like, I like to look back on Destiny 1 and think, oh, that was fantastic. I loved doing that. But I know in reality, Destiny 1 had a lot of moments where it blew. It really sucked. And, you know, we always meddled through those. But, I mean, I don't know. I guess I just don't care much don't care enough anymore. I can't sit here and, like, I tried to play with a friend who wanted to get through the Witch Queen campaign, and I got through one mission. I don't even know if we finished it. I was so ready to stop playing. I used to just be able to get on Destiny and go into any area in the game and just killing stuff would be fun. Just the actual gameplay would be fun, but everything seems to be moving more towards this meta of where I don't even know how to explain it. It's like all the fun stuff is getting taken out because it's way too powerful, but nothing is getting added back in to make those other stuff fun. So it just feels like everything's becoming unfun. We're not getting anything to become fun.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like they've done a massive job revamping everything this year. They've done fantastic stuff, like with all the subclasses, and revamped how Destiny was played, and all this stuff was really, really strong. And then what we've seen since then is just getting it punched into the ground, just watching it die. Builds that were so much fun that you could sit there for hours just killing the same enemy over and over again because it was fun. Now to this point of everything is like, well, none of your guns work anymore because these new guns we want you to grind for are just slightly better, so you need to go do that. But you know, you like these guns, so you know, get screwed. Right. All your abilities nerfed; they're not fun anymore. You know, all of your exotics, nerf those too. Why not you add, you know, all those special pieces of armor you worked hours for to get to you know, grind it through RNG and hard bosses and all this stuff. Wipe it all away. Like my class has 3 pieces of exotic armor you can choose from that works for the thing. There's like 25-30 pieces of armor for the Titan, exotic pieces of armor for the Titan. None of them are worth using. They're all terrible. The hunters and warlocks have the same problem. There's one warlock super that if you're not running, you're basically throwing because the other warlock supers just aren't worth using. Hunters are the same way. You get 2 choices: tether or arc staff.
Right.
And their armor isn't any better. Sorry.
No, it's definitely like an interesting take because I'm also trying to think about it from like a general game perspective. You know, I'm trying to, like, while you're talking, I'm also trying to figure out how much is like how do I put it? How much of it is like your experience? Not true, but like how much of it is like how you feel and how much of it is like just how it is, like how true it is. Because in a lot of games, right, the players will, how does it go? There's like a saying where like give them enough time and players will eventually optimize the fun out of a game, right? They kind of become like meta slaves that they have to follow. And you see it like every time pretty much. And the only way that I can see right now, because Bungie's not really doing anything about it from my knowledge, is that if you're not having fun, you have 2 options here, right? Is to take a break, you know, even though it's gonna hurt a lot, you know, especially the raids, right? Or you're gonna have to find some way to like make your own fun. Like, you're gonna have to do something. Like, I don't know, this sounds stupid, but maybe use some like non-meta like gear, weapons, etc. Maybe play a little bit of the PvP. I don't know how much you play that. Like, I don't know, but like it seems like the only option right here is to take things into your own hands, and I don't know how you would do that because I don't play enough Destiny, but yeah.
To add to your meta slave thing, I do believe that is what happened. Raids are difficult, especially contest mode and when you're underpowered and stuff like that. Raids are difficult, so you do need to be using kind of an optimized loadout and gear and mods and all that stuff.
Right.
But a lot of the times, you do a lot of, especially exotic pieces of armor for the Titan, are just worthless. You get nothing out of using them. Khepri's Horn, a Titan exotic helmet. Titans have a rally barricade, well, a barricade they can set up to either block or, you know, help. Big wall that blocks a lot of bullets, or a small wall that blocks a little bit, but you get some reload speed stuff while you're behind it, right? That helmet turns that small barricade into a small explosion that does no damage. Anything it would explode you can kill by punching or shooting with the lightest hitting weapon in the game in a single shot. And it's just useless. There's no actual viability to it. A lot of pieces of armor are like that. They're just becoming unusable. You'd have to be so focused around that specific piece of armor that everything else would become unfun because you're trying to just optimize something like that. Like, I genuinely do believe that, like, off-meta builds are fun. I mess around with a couple of them myself.
Hey there. It's your saving grace, your guardian angel, the smug little bug. I just came to tell you that the next part of the video, the audio in it, not that great. I wanted to leave it in because it just ties up the whole entire conversation that we had really well. But there are subtitles, and I recommend if the sound becomes too much, just turn down the sound and read the subs. But if you want to stop watching because how bad the sound is, completely get it. Other than that, have a good one. Peace out. Thanks for watching.
But it's hard to try to bring an off-meta build into something that's supposed to be in-game content, especially if you're not the best kind of a player. And I try to keep myself alive so I can help direct other people.
Right.
I mean, help direct and teach other people how to play the game and stuff. So I feel a little bit locked into meta because I want to help bring Destiny, well, to other people, to new players.
Right.
And
you want to
teach
raise
people
up
who've
the
never done a raid
players
how to do
around
them.
you to your level. You know?
Exactly. I want to teach them what somebody who has spent hours in this game crafting their build and working to get perfect set pieces of armor and all those fantastic mods and those good guns can be. I want them to show, like, I want to show them how good Destiny can be. But we can't do that with the builds we currently have. We're just kind of forced into the same stuff.
Right.
We don't really get to experiment as much as possible. And to the comment about PvP, it is garbage. Garbage. Hot garbage. You can ask any Destiny player except for the Trials of the Trials of Osiris nerds. It is trash. It is horrible. And they have tried for many years to fix it. It is horrible.
Alright, I'll take your word for it, certainly. So, I guess to, like, wrap it up a little bit, I guess. So, from what I can get from this, is that the way that Destiny can be made more fun, and it feels obvious saying it out loud now, but it's always good to, like, search these kinds of things, is to make more equipment viable, right? It's more usable. Like, would you say, like, Destiny would be, like, the perfect game or, like, the best it's ever been if, like, pretty much everything, all the exotics were usable, like, everything?
I'd say that everything should at least have a purpose. Everything should have a purpose for why it exists in Destiny. If it doesn't, it should be changed.
Right.
To have a purpose. Not everything is going to be, not everything is going to be great. It's not going to be absolute perfect. I just want it to be, if I choose to wear it, I want to feel like I've got that high piece of exotic armor that I earned on. I want to feel like it's a power fantasy game. I want to feel, if I have a helmet on that makes stuff explode, I want stuff to explode. Like, I just want to feel, like everything can be useful. Like, you can take anything in the game and build around it and just, have the same amount of fun you'd have if you were running a top tier healing build, sunspot, all that good stuff.
So, from what I can suggest, I guess I'll leave it off with this suggestion with my lack of Destiny knowledge and the Destiny knowledge that you've bestowed upon me today, is that when I look at other games like Team Fortress 2, a lot of what they have when it comes to weaponry, it's not upgrades, right? Different weapons are not upgrades, they're side grades, which makes every single weapon pretty much usable for the most part. So, like, one weapon has, like, one benefits, and then the other weapon has other benefits, but it has other negatives, right? So, say, like, a shotgun. This is gonna sound, I can't really remember Team Fortress 2 weapons that much, but let's say, like, a shotgun has, like, a big, like, a large amount of shells in it, right? And the trade-off for that is, like, since you have a bigger clip, you have less damage. The other one, less clip, more damage. It's real basic. It gets a lot more, like, It gets a lot more complicated than that.
Yeah, I understand.
But, you know, maybe something like that. Like, maybe... How does this sound? And tell me if it sounds like a good idea or not. Exotics, in order to become more viable and more of a side grade than an upgrade. Which I don't... You know, I know it's a power fantasy game, but if you just keep scaling up, you're going to keep getting exactly where you are today. So I think they need to change an upgrade system to a side grade system. You know, how would you think if like certain exotics came with certain downsides, while other exotics come with like certain downsides? You know, like if you increase this, you have like increase this, but you can do this, but you have like lower health or something like that. It makes you into like more of a, like a glass cannon. Would that sound like interesting at all?
It does to a certain extent, but it seems misplaced put onto Destiny exotics. Destiny exotics don't offer so much as buffs as abilities. Some do offer buffs, like Curus of the Falling Star will buff the Titan's Thundercrash super exponentially, make it do a ton of damage. While other things are just like hunters will get a little bit of extra damage after coming out of invisibility, something like that. They don't really offer specific stat buffs that actually will do anything. They're just more of an extra ability to add on to your already arsenal of abilities, I guess.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that's definitely a complication then. Like, while it's a great thing and you have this giant power fantasy, you know, like I've seen exactly what you were talking about, like small like Destiny clips where I see like a fucking like Titan just Superman charge into a boss and just kill him. That was great. But I mean, I don't know, something has to be like majorly changed if you want to cater to the ultra late game people of Destiny. I feel like not even like a small change.
As much as I'm saddened by like how I don't want to stop playing Destiny, I don't think they need to change anything. For the game to continue on, the seasonal content works. It brings in money, it brings in new players, and the game will thrive. The game is thriving, and it always thrives, especially around the new DLCs.
Mm-hmm.
I think the game is genuinely perfectly fine the way it's continuing on for the longevity of the game. And I guess that still makes me happy, because even if I'm not playing Destiny anymore, Destiny's gonna keep going on. It'll still be there if I ever change my mind. Okay.
I mean, that honestly, I don't want to like cut you off, but I think that's like a perfect place to kind of like leave your thoughts there, because it's like that's a great way to put it. It's like the longevity of the game is really good for what it is, right? But
yeah,
that just kind of like that answers kind of like your own like problem, is that you need to take a break. If it'll always be here.
Yeah.
And I think that's just what needs to happen if you want to have some like the fun that you used to have.
I mean,
that's a great way to put it.
I don't know if I'll like I said, I'm probably not buying the DLC, and it'll probably get uninstalled from my Xbox, and of course it'll always be there if I ever decide I want to come back. But I took a break a couple years ago and came back, and I don't know, I feel like this time it might be permanent. Last time I thought it was permanent too, though. Mm-hmm. It's just, you know, I fucking gone.
Yeah, no. It's sad. It's definitely like an emotional thing. You're not leaving behind Destiny. You're leaving behind, you know, people that you've been friends with, your character that you've been with for years. I mean, you're not leaving behind just a game. That's for certain.
Yeah, I'm leaving behind my clan, not the memories, but the chance to make more memories inside of that game with friends. I mean, it's heartbreaking. I mean, some of the people I genuinely only ever talk to when we play Destiny, because they don't do anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like when I came back, they were so excited. They welcomed me back with open arms, taught me all the stuff I needed to know, and would just, you know, it was great. It was great being part of, I'm going to name drop my clan, Grown Up Problems.
Mm-hmm.
They are the best group of players I've ever played with. Sure, they're all 35-year-old dads, which are 10 years older than me. but they're a lovely bunch of Canadians who, you know, really who took me in from being just some single player, just some dude who played by himself and a couple friends, to, you know, teaching me how to do raids, teaching me all this new stuff, and they're fantastic, and I'm gonna miss all of them. And you know, we won't ever talk as much because we won't be playing Destiny again together for a while. And it's just like, there's so much to the social aspect of Destiny that at least the way I play it, that I miss, that it's like giving up a child to me. I'm giving up a child, my cousins, all that, because they're family to me.
Right.
I've spent so much time with them. It's hard to think of them anything other than brothers, sisters, and cousins, and all that good stuff. I mean, like I said, it's not going away. Destiny 2 will continue to thrive for God only knows how many years, until they decide to wrap it up and start working on their next game. But you know, until then, I guess, it is what it is.